Starlink's journey to global connectivity. Elon Musk is a name that will define a generation, or so everyone seems to think. From Tesla to the newest space race, Musk has been throwing around funding, time, and energy to ensure that his name is synonymous with the latest and greatest in technology. This extends to his work with the now infamous SpaceX. But did you know that SpaceX has been developing a unique satellite that they believe will be the key to global connectivity and change the face of private satellite launches forever? The future of the internet and satellite technology is just within our grasp with the latest launch of 60 of SpaceX's Starlink satellites into orbit. Starlink is one of the many programs under SpaceX and Elon Musk's control. So let's rocket into all this might mean for our future. But first, you know the drill. Don't forget to subscribe today to stay up to date on all the latest in technology news and get the latest and greatest from the tech trend watchers here at Tech Locker. Why Starlink? The need for a reliable global internet and telecommunications provider is one of the last steps in reaching the global connectivity our future depends on. As it stands, more than half the world's population goes without an internet connection. Even in the United States, where SpaceX is headquartered, there are people stuck relying on standard internet connectivity, which means buried wires, limited availability, and iffy connections. These rural areas form clusters of tech deserts that result in a lack of information and can lead to economic collapse and immigration from these areas. Satellite service is usually the only option in these mostly rural communities with access to wired internet. But unfortunately, satellite internet connection can be subject to poor and delayed connection based on factors like cloud coverage and the weather. Additionally, because one satellite will service many people, there can be a lag due to overloaded data usage and limited data sharing capabilities. However, suppose the Starlink program is successful. In that case, these so-called tech deserts will be a thing of the past, and satellite internet will be changed forever. What is Starlink? Starlink was the brainchild of Musk and the developers and researchers at SpaceX. The project was less of a labor of love and more of a need to produce a product that will bring in the funding that SpaceX so desperately needs. Elon Musk has said that one of the leading motivations for this project is the desire to cash in on a small part of the multi-trillion-dollar telecommunication business to fund other, more specialized SpaceX projects. With Starlink, SpaceX and Elon Musk are looking to build and launch thousands of smaller satellites to create a network of densely placed satellites to bring widespread and reliable internet connection to the masses, which can be highly lucrative. Estimates have put the potential profit from Starlink's innovative rocket build at over $50 billion per year. This sort of funding would pay for Starlink, as well as fund SpaceX's Starship build and the Mars project infrastructure design. Starlink's development is well underway, and launches began to take place in October of 2020. They have about 700 so far in orbit, and they have no plans of stopping anytime soon. By October of 2025, Elon Musk has said they hope to have launched 12,000 of the 42,000 Starlink satellites needed for a global internet into space. This is incredible when decades ago, the price for a private satellite launch would have been prohibitively expensive for a private company such as SpaceX. But what makes Starlink different from a traditional satellite internet provider? If they can be unreliable and spotty, why is Elon so sure that Starlink will work? Well, that comes down to the design and function of the satellite that allows them to maintain an orbit of only 200 to 400 miles above the Earth's surface. Additionally, the satellites are a fraction of the size and can reduce the extensive lag times you might experience with a conventional satellite internet service. How does it work? But now you're likely asking, how do we take 40,000 satellites and turn them into a method for global connectivity? The best way to explain this is to imagine a grid, a massive grid that wraps around the Earth. The grid has a bunch of squares, and where the corners meet, a satellite will be placed. These satellites will have an incredible function that has never been used before, but will be essential to maintaining their delicate positioning. Using lasers, the satellites will actually be able to touch each other and make micro-adjustments for positioning as needed. This positioning system will prevent major collisions and help reduce the amount of space waste in our atmosphere from failed satellites. At the end of the day, there are still a few major problems. First and foremost, the service does need an earthbound satellite dish that the consumer would need to install to access the network. The dish costs nearly $500, and the monthly service costs an additional $100 per month. The service will be more than a little pricey at launch. Additionally, cybersecurity experts have raised concerns about whether or not a global internet provider could truly offer its users security and privacy. If you choose to go with Starlink's new service, you could be giving SpaceX or unsavory characters your private information. Finally, some have noted that Starlink and other low Earth orbit satellites could, in fact, result in a phenomenon called grounding, which, if you've seen the Pixar film WALL-E, you'll likely have an idea of what we're talking about. Essentially, grounding is when there are too many satellites in orbit. Thus, launches are not possible without the risk of catastrophic collisions. This is a very real concern, but a company founded on space exploration surely has a method to their madness, though they haven't shared it with us. Despite these concerns, launches are well underway, and the humanitarian efforts of Starlink are well worth striving towards. Having access to the internet is quickly becoming a fundamental human right, and Starlink is one of the massive efforts underway that hope to offer the internet to the masses. A global connection might be just a few short years away, but you'll have to wait and see what SpaceX has in store for us. For now, we dream of blazing fast internet speeds with no interruptions for every citizen of this planet we call home. Thanks so much for watching today, and we want to thank you for taking the time to watch our video. Will you be signing up for Elon Musk's new venture as an internet service provider? Do you think these low Earth satellites are bad news? Let us know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and sign up for notifications so you never miss a single video. See you next time.